to be so impressive and dominant, right? They have these columns that intimidate you almost to a certain amount. Now, another thing that I want to ask you here is, what do you think? How old that church is? How many years do you give it? 200 years, 300 years, 450 years, okay? Who else? What do you think? A long time, yeah? What do you think?
100 years.
100 years? What do you think, Sarachan? You don't know? Okay. So actually, when I ask this question, most people think it is about 200, 300, 400 years old. Really, really old. But this church is actually from the year 1905. So it's only a little bit over 100 years old. And that's why I'm saying, do not fool yourself when you visit Berlin.
This was spared even after the World War?
No, before.
No, I'm asking, this was spared? The church was spared?
It was built, repaired.
No, spared.
Spared? What is that?
It was not bombed?
It was bombed, yes. So it was built in 1905, and then in World War II, one of the last big bombs that hit Berlin hit actually the dome on the top in 1945. And it destroyed the whole dome on top of it, and also the interior of the dome was almost completely destroyed. And actually this dome did not open a long time ago, because we are still in the ancient part of East Berlin, and they did not like Christianity, they were not religious. They also, of course, did not invest a lot of money into rebuilding a church they would not attend anyway. That's why it was actually reopened about 15 years ago, not a very long time ago. You can go inside now. It costs a little bit of money, but it's very worthy to see. It's really, really beautiful, all the signs when you look at it. Very beautiful.
Maybe later we can move to the next place?
Yes, we will move in a second. You are just disturbed by the music? Or
No.
We can go to the next place?
yes, but
Skip this.
we're not going to go inside. Yeah. But one last thing I want to point out here is, because you asked about World War II, actually when you look over there, you have to look at the columns, and you will see some band-aids who are put on the columns. You see them, right? It looks like the dome was wounded, basically. Now those are old bullet holes who were shot inside of the fundament and who are repaired afterwards. They did not, rebuild it. Yes, in the columns. Do you see them? Yes, you see them?
The marks.
The marks, and they just put a little bit of plast above it and said, "Oh, it's okay now. Nobody can see it anymore." Yeah, to cover it. It's almost like they were never there. Now, why are they so black, you ask? Good question. Actually, this whole dome is made out of sandstone. I don't know if you know something about texture, You study something with... What do you study?
No, we all know sandstone.
Huh?
We all know sandstone.
You all know sandstone, of course, everybody knows sandstone. So sandstone absorbs everything that is in the air. And here we have a very polluted area. We have a lot of dirty air. And so what you see, the black stuff up there, is just dirt. It's just pollution from the air. Yes, all of it is dirt. Especially over there. Right? That's the first impression, like maybe some old stuff from World War II or something, but no, it's only dirt. But it makes the church look more authentic, I guess you could say. So yeah, we just leave the dirt where it is, Okay, one last thing I want to point out here. When you look over there, I'm going to stand over here. Have to turn it around, basically. Now, what you see behind me over there is what's called the Old Museum. And the Old Museum was opened in 1828, so quite almost 200 years ago. And it was the first public museum for the people of Berlin. Back then, we still had a monarchy, and people, the normal people, the everyday working people, were not allowed to educate themselves and to get some museum inside. And this was the first one. The person who built it was named Schinkel, and Schinkel is like you know, when there is one important architect in Berlin, it's Schinkel. He was the man, really. And Schinkel did a lot of traveling throughout Europe, into Paris and Italy, Rome, and so on. And especially Greece too. And he was inspired by all the beautiful architecture, especially by the old columns. Do you know Acropolis? Acropolis?
No.
No? It's like a very famous building in Greece, which has these big old columns from the ancient Greeks, almost 2,000-3,000 years ago. And that is basically what he copied and tried to make as well here. One last thing he wanted to copy was, he found one old museum with a beautiful big bowl in the entrance hall. And you see that big bowl over there, right? There's a big bowl on the top, on the outside of it. Now what he wanted to do is he wanted to find a very old stone, like thousands of years old, that is, you know, raw, not formed like a bowl like this, and then form it over a couple of years to form it into a bowl. And what he wanted to do was to have that bowl not outside, but inside of the museum. So when you go inside, you have that big entrance bowl, basically. Now there was one little thing that he did not think about. He did not think about the time that the museum and the bowl were going to be finished. And initially he wanted the bowl to be finished before the museum, but actually the museum was finished before the bowl. Now it stood there, and when they finished the bowl, they came here with that big bowl and wanted to put it inside, and then they saw the columns are too tight. We can't fit the bowl inside anymore. And that's why the bowl is outside and not inside anymore. Just because they didn't, you know, they didn't have the architecture right. But that's how it's kind of unique a little bit, you know, nobody else has that. And so it's outside, it's good there as well. One last thing I want you to really remember when we are here, then we're gonna continue. Over there, you see the trees, and behind there is some construction work. That is the old armory, where the old German kings used to store their weapons inside, basically. Now, when we are standing here, you've seen from the beginning, we are not standing, you know, in the normal area where people are living or something. No, we are standing in a point where you have the power from the castle, the religion from the dome, the education from the museum, and the weapons from the armory. And these four components, power, religion, education, and weapons, are basically everything that you need to lead a country. And that is really where we are right now. This is the ancient center of power, where the German kings led this empire for quite some time. Okay, that's all I want you to remember for now. Like I said, we do not have a king anymore. We have a chancellor now. Do you know her name?
Yeah, Angela Merkel
Yes.
right now. But
What?
actually the election has done.
No, she's still.
Okay,
Yes.
she's-
Probably, she's been a chancellor for a very long time.
Okay.
So she's probably gonna change in the next
Is she
election.
going to survive next time?
Huh?
Is she going to survive the
Survive?
elections?
I don't think so. I hope not, because we need change.
Is it?
Yeah, we need change. We've had her for too long. It's like we need somebody new. You know, Germans are like that. You know, when something works, we're like, okay, let it be. You know? And now we've seen, okay, we need something to change. But actually, she lives right around the corner, so we're gonna say hi to her. I called her earlier, and I was like, hello, I have a tour with some people from India. Can we come over for some tea? And she said, of course. So we're gonna say hello to her.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Just one
When I
second, I will
spoke to her in
explain
the
to you.
morning, she didn't say anything about you.
To me? No, yes.
When I spoke to her in the morning, she didn't say anything about you.
Because it's a surprise. I wasn't gonna, you know, she wasn't gonna tell you about it.
Is it?
I'm just making that surprise now, that's why. What do you want to ask?
Just to explain a few things, I'm not so good in history, but still, I know these numbers there.
Yeah?
Maybe looking at them, you can recognize this, the year that this building was built, actually. in the previous time.
1828, right?
Yeah, yes, right. But can you recognize them based on these letters there? MD, CCC, XX, and 5 and 3. Do you know how to count this? So M is the 1000.
Okay.
Just to explain you. So like the year of this
It's
building
all
is
the old Roman
it's
numbers.
the Roman numbers. The building for the year is like 8 and 28. So M is 1,000. Just to teach you, to explain you, for your future. It's a Roman number. D is 500. So we have a total around 1,500.
Yeah.
Then it's CCC. It's a 3 times 100, like 100, 600, 1,600, 1,700, 1,800. And we have then after 10, 10.
10, 10.
20.
Yeah.
And the last one?
8.
8. Means how much? 1,000, so 18, 28. 1,828. This, so M 1,000, D is 500. Once again, M 1,000,
1000.
D is 500.
Yeah, 5,000.
C is 100, C is 100, C is 100. Then after 10, 10, XX. So then after 5 and 3. Means like it's 18, 28.
Good.